A lot of people like to talk trash about video games. They say things like they'll make you violent, or they're a complete waste of time. You might have even had your parents do something like this.
You spend far too much time with your computer. It's not healthy.
It's my life.
That's so very, very sad.
Well, maybe not like that, but I think you know what I mean. People make all these claims, but are any of them really true? Is there anything to back them up? Or are video games actually not bad for you? There was actually a study done by the Ohio State University that tried to prove a link between violent video games and violent people. But they found that although people who played violent video games showed more signs of aggression, they were never able to prove that there were any long-term effects. And their studies also suggested that people who played violent video games the most tended to be violent already. Another thing I've heard a lot is that staring at the screen all day while you're playing video games will make you go blind. But actually, a study by the University of Rochester found that playing action games actually improves contrast sensitivity function, which helps you to see different colors, which basically lets you see things better. For example, here's a picture with low contrast, and then here is a picture with high contrast. The second one looks a lot better, right? One more thing I want to cover is the claim that video games are a complete waste of time. Although it might actually seem that way, there are actually a lot of benefits that you can get from playing video games. For example, a study by the National Academy of Sciences showed that people who played action games showed a greater capacity to learn than those who didn't. Daphne Bavelier, a research professor at the University of Rochester, said that action gamers became better learners by playing the fast-paced action games, which helps them excel at many tasks. She also found that action games improve prediction skills by improving our brain's ability to build models or templates of the world. I think it's pretty obvious why video games can have this effect. For example, one of my favorite games, Dark Souls, if you don't learn from your mistakes and predict what your enemies are going to do, well, another benefit of playing video games is that it can actually help slow down aging by keeping your brain in shape. The University of Iowa found that 10 hours of video games a week is enough to slow the decline of brain capacity. This is not only because of the action, but because a lot of video games are also cognitively challenging. For example, the Legend of Zelda series is famous for its puzzles. Like my favorite one, Ocarina of Time, has one of the hardest dungeons, the Water Temple. If you could get through that temple and not think it was hard to figure out, well, good for you, but it took me a long time to figure it out. Some other games like these take a lot of thinking because you have to be able to come up with a good strategy in order to win. All of that thinking really works your brain out. So with all of these benefits, I think it's pretty easy to see that, contrary to popular belief, video games can actually be really good for you. I'm not saying you should go and play video games 24/7 because obviously it's bad to be addicted to anything, but I am telling you that it's okay to play video games like you usually would because they are good for you. Thanks for watching and have fun gaming.